books I had consumed, and that had consumed me for so many years. Books that looked at the ugliest parts of humanity and asked, how did it come to this? The year Lore Rivera entered my life, I'd finally landed pieces in Vice and Texas Monthly, but my biggest coup as an aspiring true crime writer was a part-time blogging gig for H2O, a television network whose market research had made it pivot from low-budget romance movies to true crime. Women, it seemed, had tired of watching pretty white couples fall in love among ice skating rinks and hay bales. Instead, they wanted to know how many times you'd have to stab someone with that ice skating blade in order to kill them, and whether bodies in those small farming towns ever stayed buried. And their appetite was voracious. Not only did they want the full-time crime the network provided, they wanted a blog that would round up the most interesting murders on the internet. No humdrum shooting would do. They wanted novelty. That's where I came in. For 15 hours a week and $13 an hour, I scoured the web for killings that would make a jaded audience stop and click. I read national and local newspapers, scrolled through true crime message boards and subreddits, burrowed my way through 4chan threads like a spelunker of human grime. I created a set of Google alerts, terms like murder, dismemberment, kidnapping, and contract kill, and every morning my inbox replenished like an hourglass overturned. The best-performing murders were outlandishly gruesome, with an element of either brilliance or ineptitude, the latter being far more typical. They also tended to have one thing in common. Women ended up dead. Though only a quarter of all murder victims are women, when women are murdered, it's almost always by a man. And when men kill women instead of other men, well, that's when shit gets creative. Hacksaws and living burials and mysterious disappearances from tiny Cessnas. On a blog like ours, that's what sold. That Friday morning, my top post was about a Florida man who'd bashed in his ex's head with a power tool after she'd caught him with another man. Then he'd partially dissolved her limbs in acid before chopping the rest into small enough pieces to fit into a 5-gallon fishing bucket, which he'd taken to a swamp to feed to the alligators, except the gators were more enticed by the man's living limbs. He'd been forced to call 911, too badly mauled to dispose of the bucket's grisly contents before emergency responders arrived. Most of the comments were some gleeful form of, "Karma's a bitch." I often wondered about my audience, most of them women, at least according to the market research. How did they interpret their pleasure at scrolling through the posts I curated? Did the human brush fires reduce their own miseries to matchstick flickers? Did the violence provide them with a language for their private suffering? I wanted to think there was some of that, because more and more I felt like a forager of other people's tragedies, grinning as I presented them like trophies to an invisible bloodthirsty crowd. The woman in that fishing bucket, she'd been someone once. Maybe her baby teeth were still tucked away in a drawer somewhere, the way my mother had saved mine in that old felt jewelry pouch I'd found after she died. It was hard to be proud of this kind of work. I had one eye on the clock, counting down to when I needed to start packing for 4th of July weekend with my fiancé's family, when my email refreshed with a Google alert. Her secret lives. How one woman's double marriage led to the murder of an innocent man. I was so accustomed to dead women that for a moment I thought I'd misread the headline. Then came the prick of curiosity, instant and sharp. The story was from the Laredo Morning Times, a local newspaper for a city a few hours south of Austin, where I lived. I clicked on the link. My screen filled with the bold headline and 2 black and white family photos, divided by a dramatic stylized tear. In the first photo, captioned 1978, a man named Fabian Rivera and his wife, Dolores, held a pair of oversized scissors at some kind of ribbon-cutting event. Her curly black hair was feathered over each ear, earrings dangling to her jaw. She was laughing, her cheeks round, chin slightly tilted, as though she'd been about to look up at Fabian. She wore a harsh, shoulder-padded skirt suit, and Fabian stared at the camera with a small twist of a smile at the corners of his lips and eyes. Beside them, 2 dark-haired boys, twins, captioned as Gabriel and Mateo Rivera, grinned.